Hello there, and welcome to my channel Engineering Progress, where we dissect and explain in easy-to-digest bits some of the most complex engineering feats and happenings. Today on this stream, we are discussing nuclear fission and fusion power for future space exploration. Also, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, destroy the like button, put on notifications, and drop comments below on this or any content you guys want to watch. Thanks! Space travel has been one of man's greatest dreams, having the ability to go beyond the comfort of Earth and travel to various galaxies and the great unknown for exploration in search of answers or just to have a nice time in the stars. But this dream has been hampered because we do not have the jet propulsion technology to properly escape our homeworld. But all these will soon be a thing of the past, as nuclear thermal propulsion, which uses heat energy from the nuclear reaction at its core for fuel, could be used one day in human spaceflight, possibly in the not-too-distant future for our colonization of Mars. Its development is the one true challenge, as the materials used must be able to withstand high heat and bombardment of highly charged particles regularly. There is a new space race developing, with higher stakes and more ambitious goals than just going back to Earth orbit or the Moon. The United States, which has developed a sizable lead on technologies in rocket and satellite technology, has in turn grown its national and global space ambitions. Now that it is practicable to get to low Earth orbit affordably and reliably, astronauts and private companies are now looking to take it further, including establishing permanent colonies on the Moon and Mars, mining asteroids for their immense natural deposits, and sending astronauts to search for life on the moons of the outer planets. And America is not the only one in this race. China and Russia are working together on a lunar base, and China claims it will be the first to colonize Mars and even mine asteroids. Nuclear fission and fusion power will be essential to accomplishing these and other ambitions. These technologies can deliver the performance, including immense power levels, longevity, and reliability, required to take large people and cargo astronomically long distances, and support the power requirements for long-term colonies far removed from the safety net of Earth. To this end, China is reportedly making investments in the advanced propulsion sector, including in fission and fusion contacts that dwarf U.S. effort. For the United States to remain competitive on the world scale and win what some are calling the new deep space race, they must double down on investment in nuclear fission and fusion technologies. Will Searight, a nuclear engineering doctoral student at Penn State, is contributing to research that could make these advancements more feasible. He published findings from a preliminary design simulation in Fusion Science and Technology, a publication of the American Nuclear Society. To better investigate nuclear thermal propulsion, Searight simulated a small-scale laboratory experiment known as a hydrogen test loop. The setup mimics a reactor's operation in space, where hydrogen travels through the core and propels the rocket at temperatures up to nearly 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit. Searight developed the simulation using dimensions from detailed drawings of tie tubes, the components that make up much of the test loop through which hydrogen flows. Industry partner Ultra-Safe Nuclear Corporation, USNC, provided the drawings. Understanding how USNC's components behave in a hot hydrogen environment is crucial to bringing our rockets to space, Searight reasoned. We are thrilled to be working with one of the main reactor contractors for NASA's Space Nuclear Propulsion Project, which is seeking to produce a demonstration nuclear thermal propulsion engine within a decade. Advised by Lee Winfrey, Associate Professor and Undergraduate Program Chair of Nuclear Engineering, Searight used the ANSYS Fluent, a modeling software, to design a simulation loop from a stainless steel pipe with an outer diameter of about 2 inches. In the model, the loop connects to a hydrogen pump and circulates hot hydrogen through a test section adjacent to a heating element. Searight found that while consistent heating of hydrogen to 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit was attained, it was necessary to include a heating element directly above the test section to prevent a reduction in heating. Data collected from the modeling software showed that the flow of hydrogen through the test section was smooth and uniform, reducing the uneven distribution of heat through the loop that could jeopardize the setup's safety and lifespan. Analysis of the results also verified that stainless steel would allow for more convenient and cost-effective construction of the loop. The fusion rocket. So one might wonder, a fusion rocket? How's that possible? Are we onto some Star Trek imaginations right now? Well, a fusion rocket is a theoretical design for a rocket driven by fusion propulsion that could provide efficient and sustained acceleration in space without the need to carry a large fuel supply. The design requires fusion power technology beyond current capabilities and much larger and more complex rockets. Fusion nuclear pulse propulsion is one approach to using nuclear fusion energy to provide propulsion. Fusion's main advantage is its very high specific impulse, while its main disadvantage is the likely large mass of the reactor. A fusion rocket may produce less radiation than a fission rocket, reducing the shielding mass needed. The surest way of building a fusion rocket is to use hydrogen bombs as proposed in Project Orion, but such a spacecraft would be massive, and the Partial Nuclear Test Ban Treaty prohibits the use of such bombs. For that reason, bomb-based rockets would likely be limited to operating only in space. An alternative approach uses electrical, e.g. ion propulsion, with electric power generated by fusion instead of direct thrust. Spacecraft propulsion methods such as ion thrusters require electric power to run, but are highly efficient. In some cases, their thrust is limited by the amount of power that can be generated running on fusion power that could drive such a ship. One disadvantage is that conventional electricity production requires a low-temperature energy sink, which is difficult, i.e. heavy, in a spacecraft. Direct conversion of the kinetic energy of fusion products into electricity mitigates this problem. One attractive possibility is to direct the fusion exhaust out the back of the rocket to provide thrust without the intermediate production of electricity. This would be easier with some confinement schemes, example magnetic mirrors, than with others, example tokamaks. It is also more attractive for advanced fuels. Helium-3 propulsion would use the fusion of helium-3 atoms as a power source. Helium-3, an isotope of helium with 2 protons and 1 neutron, could be fused with deuterium in a reactor. The resulting energy release could expel propellant out the back of the spacecraft. Helium-3 is proposed as a power source for spacecraft mainly because of its lunar abundance. Scientists estimate that 1 million tons of accessible helium-3 are present on the Moon. Only 20% of the power produced by the DT reaction could be used this way, while the other 80% is released as neutrons, which, because they cannot be directed by magnetic fields or solid walls, would be difficult to direct towards thrust. Helium-3 is produced through the beta decay of tritium, which can be produced from deuterium, lithium, or boron. Even if a self-sustaining fusion reaction cannot be produced, it might be possible to use fusion to boost the efficiency of another propulsion system, such as a Vasmir engine. So this poses the question, what are the confinement alternatives? Magnetic. To sustain a fusion reaction, the plasma must be confined. The most widely studied configuration for terrestrial fusion is the tokamak, a form of magnetic confinement fusion. Currently, tokamaks weigh a great deal, so the thrust-to-weight ratio would seem unacceptable. NASA's Glenn Research Center proposed a small aspect ratio spherical torus reactor for its Discovery 2 could deliver a crude 172,000 kilogram payload to Jupiter in 118 days, or 212 days to Saturn, using 861 metric tons of hydrogen propellant plus 11 metric tons of helium-3 deuterium DHE3 fusion fuel. The hydrogen is heated by the fusion plasma debris to increase thrust at a cost of reduced exhaust velocity, 348 to 463 kilometers per second, and hence increased propellant mass. Inertial. The main alternative to magnetic confinement is inertial confinement fusion, ICF, such as that proposed by Project Daedalus. A small pellet of fusion fuel with a diameter of a couple of millimeters would be ignited by an electron beam or a laser. To produce direct thrust, a magnetic field forms the pusher plate. In principle, the helium-3 deuterium reaction or an aneutronic fusion reaction could be used to maximize the energy in charged particles and to minimize radiation, but it is highly questionable whether using these reactions is technically feasible. Both the detailed design studies in the 1970s, the Orion Drive, and Project Daedalus used inertial confinement. In the 1980s, Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory and NASA studied an ICF-powered Vehicle for Interplanetary Transport Applications, or VISTA. The conical VISTA spacecraft could deliver a 100-ton payload to Mars orbit and return to Earth in 130 days, or to Jupiter orbit and back in 403 days. 41 tons of deuterium, tritium, DT fusion fuel would be required, plus 4,124 tons of hydrogen expellant. The exhaust velocity would be 157 kilometers per second. Magnetized target. Magnetized target fusion, or MTF, is a relatively new approach that combines the best features of the more widely studied magnetic confinement fusion, i.e., good energy confinement, and inertial confinement fusion, i.e., efficient compression heating and wall-free containment of the fusing plasma approaches. Like the magnetic approach, the fusion fuel is confined at low density by magnetic fields while it is heated into a plasma. But, like the inertial confinement approach, fusion is initiated by rapidly squeezing the target to dramatically increase fuel density and thus temperatures. MTF uses plasma guns, i.e., electromagnetic acceleration techniques, instead of powerful lasers, leading to low-cost and weight-compact reactors. The NASA MSFC Human Outer Planets Exploration, or HOPE group, has investigated a crewed MTF propulsion spacecraft capable of delivering a 163,933 kilogram payload to Jupiter's moon Callisto, 106 to 165 metric tons of propellant, hydrogen plus DT or DHE3 fusion fuel in 249 to 330 days. This design would thus be considerably smaller and more fuel efficient due to its higher exhaust velocity, 700 kilometers per second, than the previously mentioned Discovery 2 Vista concepts. Inertial electrostatic. Another popular confinement concept for fusion rockets is inertial electrostatic confinement, or IEC, such as in the Farnsworth-Hirsch fusor or the Polywell variation under development by Energy Matter Conversion Corporation, or EMC2. The University of Illinois has defined a 500-ton fusion ship 2 concept capable of delivering a 100,000 kilogram crewed payload to Jupiter's moon Europa in 210 days. Fusion ship 2 utilizes ion rocket thrusters, 343 kilometers per second exhaust velocity, powered by 10 DHE3 IEC fusion reactors. The concept would need 300 tons of argon propellant for a one-year round trip to the Jupiter system. Robert Bussard published a series of technical articles discussing its application to spaceflight throughout the 1990s. His work was popularized by an article in the Analog Science Fiction and Fact publication where Tom Ligon described how the fusor would make for a highly effective fusion rocket. With that, we have come to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, why don't you tell us what you think about the shortage of microchips and the future possibilities of nuclear power being used for spaceflight? Let's all hear your views in the comment section. Please share and comment on our amazing videos. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to notify a new video like this is out immediately. Have a great day, guys. Hello there.
See you next time.
And welcome to my channel, Engineering Progress, where we dissect and explain in easy-to-digest bits some of the most complex engineering feats and happenings. Today on this stream, we are discussing the world's tallest buildings. Also, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, destroy the like button, put on notifications, and drop comments below on this or any content you guys want to watch. Thanks! World's tallest buildings. Skyscrapers, part of the increasingly impressive modern marvels which can be counted as insane, taking into the fact how high they rise above the clouds and seem to rise endlessly into the sky. Some of them are residential buildings, some others are offices, and a very few select are a hybrid mix of offices, apartments, and even hotel rooms. The views are breathtaking, but they come down to cost. Take the Burj Khalifa in downtown Dubai, for instance, which features residential units which vary from studios to an opulent 5-bedroom penthouse that was going for $27,770,000 in 2017. We have nitpicked the most awe-inspiring, away-from-the-norm, surreal, vertigo-inducing structures and compiled them into this list of the tallest buildings the world has ever seen. Starting with the creme de crop, let's go for a dive, shall we? Burj Khalifa. Location, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Height, 2,717 feet. Completion date, 2010. With an innovative tripodal design, along with the projecting shapes of its edges to slice through the wind like the front of a boat to cut down turbulence, both affording great stabilities, are but a few of the intelligent ways the Burj Khalifa stood on in rising to its record-setting height. The building stands tall at more than 700 feet over its closest competitor. The race to be the tallest has sped up in the last couple of decades as governments and citizens have pulled together the means for erecting record-setting tall buildings. This is particularly in emerging economies in East Asia and the Middle East. The same designer of the Burj Khalifa, Adrian Smith, has drawn up even more amazingly ambitious projects, the Jeddah Tower in Saudi Arabia for an example. It was put to be opened in 2017 and was to stand at about 3,281 feet, a full kilometer, but the project's completion has been pegged back to 2021. Shanghai Tower. Location: Shanghai, China. Height: 2,073 feet. Completion date: 2014. The twisted structure in the skyline of Shanghai houses a remarkable 128 floors, with a record of being one of the tallest buildings in the world is the Shanghai Tower. The design from Gensler embraces an inner glass facade and a twirling exterior. While the inside of the tower features 9 zones created by the stacking of interior components atop one another, a curved exterior not only provides a unique aesthetic as the third of 3 skyscrapers in close spacing, but also offers an engineering benefit by reducing wind loads. One of the world's highest observation decks opened to the public in 2016 inside of the city. Mecca Royal Clock Tower Hotel. Location: Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Height: 1,972 feet. Completion date: 2012. The Mecca Royal Clock Tower Hotel was built to provide comfortable accommodations to wealthy Muslim pilgrims making the Hajj. This is the contributing factor to the building's high reach. Its gigantic footprint, a broader base, supports greater height, as we've all learned firsthand while playing with blocks as kids. Ping An Finance Center. Location: Shenzhen, China. Height: 1,965 feet. Completion date: 2017. The Special Economic Zone of Shenzhen, China has spurred growth, and that includes upward growth seen in 2017 after the concrete and steel Ping An Finance Center. Intensely dense and connected into the center of the city, it sits on the high-speed rail corridor. The mix of hotel, office, and retail, the 115 floors designed by American firm Kohn Pedersen Fox Associates offers a modern approach to skyscrapers in China. Lotte World Tower. Location: Seoul, South Korea. Height: 1,819 feet. Completion date: 2017. The 123 floors of the Kohn Pedersen Fox Associates designed Lotte World Tower became the first 100-story building in Korea. The steel building curves inwards as it rises, and the glass used was meant to serve as a reminder of Korean ceramic history. A mix of retail, office, hotel, residence, and event space fills the tower. One World Trade Center. Location: New York City, United States. Height: 1,776 feet. Completion date: 2014. The spire of one WTC attains a height of exactly 1,776 feet, a shout-out to the birth year of the United States. The building is only around 1,300 feet tall, but the CTBUH chose to count spire toward the building's official height. The decision saw the new building eclipse the Willis Tower in Chicago, albeit controversially, as the tallest building in North America. Tianjin Chao Tai-Fuk Binhai Center. Location: Tianjin, China. Height: 1,739 feet. Completion date: September 2019. The ceremony to unveil this groundbreaking masterpiece, called the Tianjin CTF Center, took place in November of 2019. The building features a curved glass look, which was accomplished by using 8 massive strategically placed columns that provide support and stability, and are designed to help keep the building in an upright position in the event of an earthquake or other seismic activities. The taper seen on the edifice not only looks cool, but also helps minimize the amount of surface area exposed to the elements. The Tianjin CTF Center is easy to identify if you ever get to find yourself in the city. It towers over the surrounding buildings in the area. China Zun. Location: Beijing, China. Height: 1,731 feet. Completion date: 2018. Fully topped out in 2017, finishing touches on what will be the tallest building in Beijing has been completed in 2019. The unique design from TFP Farrells and Kohn Pedersen Fox Associates curves the building inwards as it rises before it curves outward again near the top of the 109-floor structure. The mixed-use building provides a completely fresh perspective on the Beijing skyscrapers, likely to lead the way for years to come. Taipei 101. Location, Taipei, Taiwan. Height, 1,667 feet. Taipei 101 adopts some of the vernacular architecture of the region where it's built. Here, you have a classic stacked pagoda look, which is a common thing throughout Asia. Furthermore, the building has 8 segments of 8 floors each, a nod to the auspicious nature of the numerical 8 in the Chinese-speaking world. Shanghai World Financial Center. Location, Shanghai, China. Height, 1,622 feet. Completion date, 2008. You can purchase a bottle opener shaped like this beauty thanks to the open space at the very top that reminisces of the tool we use to crack onto a cold one. The little souvenirs can be found within the observation deck gift shop, one of 101 floors within the massive structure. The building is used for several purposes and includes offices, hotel rooms, conference rooms, and even shopping on the ground floor. International Commerce Center. Location, Hong Kong, China. Height, 1,588 feet. Completion date, 2010. This was a massive gamble for its developers given its relative isolation from the rest of Hong Kong's high-rises, but the International Commerce Center is doing just fine. The mixed-use office and hotel building has a 97% occupancy rate and excellent in-building services such as a 24-hour concierge. It is known that the ICC's designers envisioned to make this the tallest building then on the planet, but a local ordinance that outlaws structures from rising higher than the nearby mountains stymied the dream. Wuhan Greenland Center. Location, Wuhan, China. Height, 1,562 feet. Completion, 2022, estimated. Work done on this skyscraper, which is ongoing by the way, began in June 2012 and will feature hotel rooms and office space in addition to parking space, banquet halls, and even bike storage space. Originally, the Wuhan Greenland building was going to be 2,087 feet, but that was abandoned because of airspace restrictions. Central Park Tower. Location, New York, USA. Height, 1,550 feet. Completion, 2020. Located at 217 West 57th Street, Central Park Tower is located along Billionaires Row in Midtown and is also known as Nordstrom Tower because of the Nordstrom store on the lower floors. This structure is the tallest residential building in the world, housing 179 condo units that start at a cool $7 million. The $3 billion project is also the second tallest building in the United States and features an incredible view of its namesake park. Lakhta Center. Location, St. Petersburg, Russia. Height, 1,516 feet. Completion date, 2019. Striking straight into the sky, the distinct design of the Lakhta Center on the outskirts of St. Petersburg offers a lonely spire in a horizontal landscape that will serve as the centerpiece to a growing neighborhood around it that includes plenty of open space for pedestrians. The building includes thermal insulation through a double-glazed facade to combat the summertime heat and an ice formation control system for winter weather. Vincom Landmark 81. Location, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Height, 1,514 feet. Completion date, 2018. Located on the Saigon River, Landmark 81, the 81 floors, ensure this is not just a clever name for a building, marks the tallest building in Vietnam. Designed by Atkins from Britain, the stair-stepping aesthetic of the building provides a distinct design and serves as the centerpiece of a new mixed-use neighborhood. Petronas Towers 1 and 2. Location, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Height, 1,483 feet each. Completion date, 1998. A 2-story skybridge connects these twin towers on the 41st and 42nd floors. It not only gives the structure its iconic look, but it also speaks to the future of tall buildings and urban development. That future will involve connecting tall buildings at height so that people in large buildings can cross from one to another without going all the way down to the ground and up again. Zifeng Tower. Location, Nanjing, China. Height, 1,476 feet. Completion date, 2010. Zifeng was designed by Adrian and Gordon Gill Architecture, the firm behind the Burj Khalifa, and the resemblances are easy to spot. Here, the cutaway look is meant to mimic a dragon wrapping around the structure. Another neat detail noticed is that many of the windows pop out several degrees, a little like those tiny smoking windows found in the back seat of older cars. The Exchange 106. Location, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Height, 1,462 feet. Completion date 2019. Using a 12-story illuminated crown to accentuate the height of the exchange development in the Tun Razak Exchange Financial District development in Kuala Lumpur, the new skyscraper gives visitors a shiny new example of height in Malaysia. The Peter Chan architect design is structurally completed with the opening, including a mix of uses of the 106-floor building planned then for 2019. With that, we have come to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, why don't you tell us what you feel about the tallest buildings in the world and its effect to civilization? Let's all hear your views in the comment section. Please share and comment on our amazing videos. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to notify a new video like this is out immediately. Have a great day, guys. See you next time. 5 lessons Evergrande taught us about the Chinese economy. Hello guys, and welcome back to Engineering Progress. In today's video, we are going to be looking at the recent dip of Chinese company Evergrande and the lessons learned. This is going to be based on an economic point of view. Want to know more? Do stick around and hit the notification bell for more videos like this if you haven't already. Evergrande is one of the biggest business franchises in the whole of Asia. It owns a shopping mall, a bunch of buildings, and a football team. Evergrande Group Limited is a Hong Kong company. It's been around for more than 20 years. On Tuesday, the company announced its financial results for the last 3 months of 2021. The results look worrisome. They showed the company's debt rise is now over $300 billion. Some commentators have called this a story of hubris. The company had so much debt, they said, because Evergrande put its own ambitions ahead of financial discipline. But there is another story, perhaps more interesting. Evergrande was born in the boom times that followed China's entry into the World Trade Organization in 2001. That year, one of China's biggest state-owned banks lent Evergrande $1 billion to buy land, start a real estate development company, and invest in other companies. In 2014, it was the largest real estate company in the world by market value. The loan was approved without any apparent regard for how big or risky or ambitious the projects might be. And it turned out that they were very big and very risky indeed. The bank expected Evergrande to pay back the loan by selling everything at ever higher prices. It would make money on the rising prices as well as on servicing its interest payments. But when China's economy began slowing down in recent years, Evergrande stopped making money quickly enough to pay off the loan. Evergrande also announced it would be cutting its workforce by 1,300 people, about 8% of its workforce. What really happened? The company represents what is called shadow banking in China, companies that seem to do something other than just lend money or transfer it around the system, but probably aren't very good at either one. Like many Chinese companies, Evergrande appears to have borrowed heavily to buy up things it didn't really need to buy up. Instead of working to pay back those debts, Evergrande has piled up more debt to pay off old debts it hasn't yet managed to pay off. This is not what you'd call an unusual situation in China. Many big firms are like this, ever larger companies with ever larger obligations. Evergrande was one of the largest property developers in China by sales, with the majority of revenues also coming from mineral mining, electric automobiles, and large-scale farming. China's growth model relies on investment and exports, both of which have slowed as the government tries to keep a lid on leverage and cool off the country's bubbly housing market. That means Evergrande and other developers face a bleak outlook, with fewer buyers and fewer places to put their money. The company's predicament offers a window into the challenges facing China, where economic growth has slowed to its weakest pace since 1990, threatening to drag down the global economy with it. Much of the world is counting on China to play a stabilizing role in the global economy as the US continues to ratchet up tariffs on its trade with Beijing. But some economists say that what lies ahead for China is not another cyclical downturn, but an instance of slower long-term growth, a new normal that could pose fresh challenges for global trade and growth. Today, through a combination of judicial rulings and administrative fiat, the Chinese government is assigning a much lower value to all land held by Evergrande than its price during the property boom, and far less than what Evergrande paid for it. The difference between these two figures is referred to as negative equity. After years of trying to hide their debt by transferring properties between subsidiaries, Evergrande finally admitted last year that they had over $8 billion in negative equity. The lessons learned. 1. Real estate has been a huge part of China's economic growth. Evergrande is also a real estate company based in Guangzhou. It is one of the most important economic stories of the past decade. A lot of people don't realize how important real estate has been to China's growth. But consider this shocking number. Between 2001 and 2011, Chinese real estate developers completed construction on over 8 billion square meters of floor space. That's roughly 20% more than all of France, including Paris. The real estate market in China is huge and accounts for a large part of economic growth. In the last decade, real estate contributed 29% to China's economic growth, more than the GDP contribution from finance, manufacturing, agriculture, and telecommunications combined. The real estate boom has also been a major source of employment in China for the past decade. Real estate construction has been a huge driver of economic growth in China. If you're looking for one factor that explains why China grew so quickly over the past decade, this may be it. How did Evergrande get that big? And what does it suggest about how China's economy works? Well, there you have it. 2. The Chinese property bubble has created spooky, empty cities. Evergrande has built more than 200 ecological villages in the last 2 years, but the vast majority are far from welcoming. They are almost entirely empty, since buildings that have been hastily thrown together has no thought for aesthetics or even basic functionality. Like in Kangbashi, a new district in Ordos and China's largest ghost city, there are 30 apartment buildings and 2 public schools that can service more than 100,000 people. That is just the residential part of Kangbashi. The entire district is supposed to house around 1 million people. However, it is estimated that only around 20,000 people actually live there. Housing prices in these affected cities are so high that even migrant workers coming back after working for years in the cities cannot afford to buy an apartment there. As a result, many of them have decided to continue living in their old homes or to move to even cheaper places like South China's rural areas. Ordos provides a prime example of how China's property bubble has created spooky empty cities throughout the nation. Uneven development is the result of the government's attempts to control bubbles with administrative measures. The government is still trying to balance out supply with demand, instead creating a mismatch between buyers and sellers by discouraging private investment in housing projects. 3. The Communist Party's agendas to reduce financial risks. The Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, has always worked to prevent political liberalization. However, it may be gradually allowing some economic liberalization corresponding to Xi Jinping's 2017 strategy of reform and opening up. One example of this is the party's recent crackdown on excessively open real estate markets. To protect society, the CCP is no longer allowing private entrepreneurs to seek profit by speculative means. Instead, it is using public money to increase its own control over the economy. The second example is that the CCP has also recently begun to launch campaigns against financial institutions that are too big to fail. The CCP wants banks to change their business models, reduce risks, and improve transparency. It is attempting to prevent another crisis like the one China experienced in 2011. In an attempt to further rectify this problem, the Communist Party tries to eliminate business models that rely on subsidized land purchases and credit from state-run banks. Evergrande's collapse is a case study in how these efforts are playing out in China today. 4. Cronyism is key in major Chinese businesses. Evergrande was founded by Chu Jie-yin, who not that long ago was the richest man in China. He built his wealth not by inventing something or coming up with a new business model, but essentially by doing what all the other Chinese property developers were doing, building their network from home. Zhu practiced favoritism in business dealings as well as sentiments. Board members included his relatives and people he had worked with at another company he used to own. Everyone else had to pay for Evergrande stock, not just for their own shares, but also for those they issued to themselves, and then wait years before they could sell them at a profit. A similar pattern is common in other sectors of the Chinese economy. Family members hold top positions, others are forced to become minority shareholders. Everyone, even though not qualified, waits for years before they can make their own contribution to the company. 5. Evergrande might just be the beginning. Evergrande is a case study in how not to run an investment. It also illustrates some of the pitfalls of investing in China and even some of the pitfalls of investing in property in general. The company is now in default on its bonds. As long as they trade below par, there is a chance that holders will be able to recover some money by suing Evergrande's directors and officers for negligence and breach of fiduciary duty, though the chance of success depends on whether Chinese courts can enforce judgments against offshore assets and whether Evergrande has any assets in China that would be subject to such judgments. If they do recover, it will be from the pockets of the cronies who benefited from this scheme. The shortfall has turned into a rout. This week, Evergrande said it would sell most of its operations to secure new funding after it failed to pay interest on bonds issued last year. The proceeds will be used to repay existing debts, including another bond issue that was due this month. China's most highly valued property developer has turned into its biggest threat to financial stability. With that, we have come to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, tell us what you think about these lessons and the plans made by Evergrande to curb this problem. Let's hear your views in the comment section, and please share and comment on our amazing videos. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to notify a new video like this is out immediately. Have a great day,
Hello there,
and see you later.
Channel Engineering Progress, where we bring, dissect, and explain in easy-to-digest bits some of the most complex engineering feats and happenings. Today on this stream, we're discussing the world's deepest swimming pool. Also, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, destroy that like button, put on notifications, and drop comments below on this or any other content you guys want to watch. Thanks. What makes Dubai special? A city so in love with creating records. The records achieved by this city can fill a library. Well, there is a library of such, where records made by this city are kept by the city, and there seems to be no end in sight to their desire for global acclaim. The desire, allure, and urge to continue packing these world records doesn't seem to wane. Just a few weeks ago, the Dubai-based British philanthropist and artist Sasha Jaffrey gained another accolade, as she delivered the world's largest art canvas, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. There's also records like the biggest prize pool for horse racing, fastest marathon in American football kit, largest flower structure and arrangement, largest synchronized car dance, largest tin of caviar, largest water fountain, the largest line of planes, largest zip line, longest wheelie, distance on a quad bike ATV, longest underwater live radio broadcast without support, tallest hotel, a record which has been broken 4 times by Dubai. The Burj Khalifa is a very tall building, and we're aware of that fact, but it's not the only one, and does not reduce the intrigue of the avalanche of records available. It is the tallest building in the known universe, as it stands at 828 meters tall. There's also a record that went under the radar till an Instagram video from Will Smith brought it to the world's attention: the deepest swimming pool ever created. Deep Dive Dubai, located in Dubai's Nad Al Shaban neighborhood, is now verified by the Guinness World Record as the world's deepest swimming pool, at a depth of 169.9 feet or 60.02 meters, and holds 14 million liters of water, that the owners say is equivalent to 6 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Deep Dive Dubai allows thrill seekers to dive inwards and discover a new underwater dimension filled with adventure and wonder. We offer an unparalleled experience with year-round diving in a safe environment with outstanding instructors and services. Abdullah bin Habtour, spokesperson for Deep Dive Dubai, said in a statement, "This facility is an investment in Dubai's growing sports culture and will add another world-class destination to Dubai's thriving tourist attraction and adventure tourism sector," he added. The pool, which is shaped like a giant oyster, is a nod to the region's pearl diving heritage. Features the latest technology for divers, including a hyperbaric chamber along with an entire sunken city for the divers to explore. The pool also comes with state-of-the-art lighting, sound, and a mood system. The pool's water is also ultra clean, thanks to its filtration system that circulates water every 6 hours through siliceous volcanic rock, NASA-developed filter technology, and UV radiation. Water temperature is maintained at 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, a comfortable temperature for wearing a thin wetsuit or a swimsuit. Bin Habtour also added, "We hope to embody the determination of Emirati explorers and innovators, both past and present, as well as provide a platform for future achievements and discoveries." Beyond the pool itself, the facility is also home to a dive shop, gift shop, and 80-seat restaurant which is open to the public, as well as a variety of meeting, event, and conference spaces, a sunken city, and underwater film studio. Ever had the childhood dream of having a pool so big you can put some of your life-size toys in it with various channels and tunnel access leading to various chambers housing them? Well, you can. Kinda. You can go play with all the ones owned by Deep Dive Dubai. The biggest star of Deep Dive Dubai is arguably the pool's underwater city. Divers can explore abandoned sunken city apartments and play underwater pool in the arcade. State-of-the-art lighting and sound systems have been fitted inside the pool to create different atmospheres, reaching depths of 60.2 meters, and that is barely scraping the surface of the astonishing features that the facility contains. Within the pool's abyssal depths is a lost city, complete with derelict streetscapes, apartments, and many more surprises. It's safe to say that the project takes pool design to a whole new level, in an embodiment of Dubai's endless quest for ostination. Initially designed by Pascal plus Watson, based in the UK, Ireland, and the Middle East, in collaboration with Rambal Dubai, the project had a variety of contributors over the years. The result of this collaboration is an experience that, quote, allows thrill seekers to dive inwards and discover a new underwater dimension filled with adventure and wonder, as expressed by Abdullah bin Habtoor, Deep Dive Dubai's spokesperson, in an official statement. Jared Jablonski, a world record-holding diver and pool's director, builds on this notion in a press release, stating that, quote, Deep Dive Dubai offers something truly unique for everyone, with a team that is dedicated to ensuring a memorable experience. Once immersed in the 27 by 17 meter pool at the complex's ground level, divers can encounter a 10-meter diameter deep shaft where a vast sunken cityscape reveals itself, teeming with storefronts, streetlights, ATMs, benches, and a large tree with roots stretching to a depth of 25 meters. Here, visitors can access the pool's two underwater habitats, located at depths of 6 and 21 respectively. As unique features of this facility that are not seen in other such diving pools, these dry habitats allow divers to surface, catch their breath, or even discard their equipment and exit the water if they desire. Conversely, the post-apocalyptic urbanscape gets more and more haggard towards the lower depths, where nature takes over the man-made forms, as moss-covered surfaces, swirling tree trunks, and plants growing in every nook and cranny. At a depth of 28 meters, an apartment housing a bedroom, kitchen, dining, music and art room, and living spaces presents itself in a 62-meter donut-shaped path around the main shaft. Similarly, at 38 meters, another donut-shaped features cars, motorbikes, arcade games, pinball machines, a pool table, a life-sized stormtrooper, a full-sized Lego man, and other toys in a garage-themed interior. This zone is connected to the apartment above by a staircase shaft. At depths between 40 and 60 meters, the space morphs into a deep shaft enclosed by worn brick walls plastered with graffiti. Jesper Kjoller, a senior marketing supervisor at Deep Dive Dubai, shed light on what makes the facility so unique among other pools. He says, quote, it's the sunken city theme that sets us apart from other deep pools. They have white square tiles and chlorinated water. We have vehicles, streetlights, fully furnished apartments, pool tables, arcade games, and dozens of other features that make divers want to come back again and again to explore. On top of that, we have plenty of cutting-edge technology features like underwater cameras, hydrophones, underwater habitats, advanced lighting design systems, and a decompression chamber. The latter is said to be the region's most advanced hyperbaric chamber. Regarding obstacles encountered in realizing such an ambitious project, Kjoller shares that digging a 60-meter shaft in the sand was a challenge, as was managing galvanic corrosion in an environment with so many different metals and materials. The pool also acts as an underwater film studio, the largest of its kind in the region. A media editing room is available nearby the facility. Deep Dive Dubai also offers courses for both diving beginners and certified divers. Divers can also explore the pool and underwater city by themselves after a tour with one of the dive guides at the site. Some 56 cameras have been installed around the pool to ensure the safety of divers at every corner. It also has the region's most advanced hyperbaric chamber, with a capacity of 12 people in case of an emergency. There are quite a few dive pools in the world that are deep, but this one is so much more interesting, Deep Dive Director was stating. It's not only deepest and largest, but the sunken city effect makes it next world order. There are so many things, it's not fair to call it a pool. In a city like Dubai, where it's difficult for architects to hide their projects from each other to prevent competition until a few weeks before launch, the Deep Dive Dubai was properly under wraps, and that's a testament in itself. Therefore, there's not much information around how it was constructed and the science behind its construction. But one certain thing. In building a record-breaking pool, there are some unusual traits they have in common. Working from the top down, the process is basically like constructing pools within pools. As the first chamber is excavated and lined with concrete, it becomes the launch point for the next chamber, and those chambers become progressively smaller the deeper the pool goes, all culminating in a narrow dive shaft. Due to the amount of pressure the shaft will be under when the pool is filled, it is formed from a precast concrete tube that is reinforced with a further 1.5 meters of concrete around it. The whole thing is designed to move and settle in the ground once the weight of the water is added, and divers are advised not to travel more than 300 meters above sea level within 24 hours of visiting. With that, we've come to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, why don't you tell us what you think about Dubai's plans and the possibilities of achieving the perfect future? Let us hear your views in the comment section below. Please share and comment on our amazing videos. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to notify when a new video like this is out immediately. Hello there and welcome to my channel. Have a great day, guys, and see you next time, where we bring, dissect, and explain in easy-to-digest bits some of the most complex engineering feats and happenings. Today on this stream, we are discussing the world's largest sphere in Las Vegas. Also, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, destroy the like button, put on notifications, and drop comments below on this or any content you guys want to watch. Thanks. Las Vegas is a city located in one of the world's driest and hottest deserts. But that has not stopped Las Vegas from going from a small railway outpost to a buzzing, brilliant city of over 2.2 million people, and hosts over 42 million tourists in a typical year. The city's natural ability to reinvent itself time after time has seen it transform from an escape for the builders of the Hoover Dam into America's playground, and the only city in the world where the Eiffel Tower, Statue of Liberty, Egyptian pyramids, and the canals of Venice are all located and can be seen in a single day. The city has gathered a global following, positioning itself as the single stop that encapsulates a global village experience. America's Sin City is up for a one-of-its-kind facelift very soon, with the world's largest sphere set to be installed. The city's infamous skyline will be drastically changed, for the better, it seems. But with some competitors now emerging in Asia, Middle and Far East Asia, Las Vegas is in a fight to maintain its status as the entertainment capital of the world, and it is taking a huge bet on its latest, awe-dropping spectacle. The MSG Sphere Arena was announced in February 2018, and is built in partnership with the Madison Square Garden Company, MSG, and Las Vegas Sands Corporation. The MSG Sphere is located east of the Las Vegas Sands Venetian Resort and just off the Las Vegas Strip. The Sphere was designed by Populous. The property will include 304 parking spaces, while additional spaces will be available at the parking garages for the nearby Venetian, Palazzo, and Sands Expo. A groundbreaking ceremony was held on September 27, 2018, and was attended by approximately 300 people, including Las Vegas Sands Sheldon Adelson and Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval. In November 2018, it was reported that the MSG Sphere would be built along with new bars, private suites, a museum, and retail space. AECOM began working on the site in February of 2019 through a preliminary agreement. AECOM had worked on several other stadia, including the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. The world's largest LED sphere. The dome-like structure will be the world's largest sphere, and also contain the largest high-resolution LED screen on the planet. Since the days of Dean Martin and the Rat Pack in the 1960s, Las Vegas has been the timeless hub for live entertainment, and between showcase fights and hotel residences from Elton John, Celine Dion, and Britney Spears. This new edifice will not only transform the Las Vegas skyline, but reshape the live entertainment industry. The latest spectacle is developed by Madison Square Garden Entertainment, and is located just off the strip behind the Venetian, which is unlike anything anyone has seen on Earth, as it's the world's largest LED sphere. Officially known as the MSG Sphere, the structure will cost a whopping $1.8 billion, and will stand at 112 meters tall. The venue's seating capacity is 17,500 and offers the world's highest resolution LED screen with 19,000 by 13,500 Full HD 1920 by 1080 pixels. It covers an area larger in size than 3 football fields, wrapping the crowd in an immersive experience that is 100 times clearer than any of today's best HD TVs. For the outside, the sphere will be clothed with 54,000 square meters of programmable lighting, giving those who cannot get in a show of their own. The radical improvement of technology has allowed humans to feel things more intensely. It can be music, video games, or movies, through spatial lossless audio, VR assistance, etc. The MSG sphere would not be left out in the adoption of radical new technology, as it's more than just a huge HD screen. Using an advanced acoustic system called beamforming technology, multiple audio streams can be delivered directly to individual seats simultaneously, while an infrasound haptic system will use vibrations to engage guests to feel the sound around them. So, what are we to expect from this project? Upon its completion, the MSG sphere will be 366 feet, 112 meters high, and 516 feet, 157 meters wide at its broadest point. It'll include seating for 17,500 persons, and all the seats will have high-speed internet access. The venue can accommodate 20,000 people in standing capacity. The MSG sphere will be equipped with 19,000 by 13,500 resolution LED screens, which will spread across the interior of the venue. The wraparound screen will measure 160,000 square feet, 15,000 meters square. It will be the largest and highest resolution LED screen in the world. Ted King, who previously worked on Star Trek: The Experience, will create the visual content for the MSG sphere. The sound delivery system will deliver sound through the floorboards. The exterior of the venue will feature 54,000 square meters of programmable lighting. The arena will primarily host awards shows and concerts, in addition to other entertainment events. Although it was not designed to host sporting events, there was the possibility of hosting matches for boxing and mixed martial arts. A 1,000-foot pedestrian bridge will connect the sphere to the Sand Expo. This looks like a daunting task, and you're wondering how all this can fit, as it requires absolute madness, right? The engineering going into the construction is unlike anything seen before. As work stated in 2018, with the drilling of nearly 600 poles, an excavation of about 84,000 cubic meters of soil matter. That, unlike popular beliefs, is not to prevent the sphere from rolling over like when Messi is weaving his magic, but to support the enormous weight of the structure and create a 5,000 square meter basement for the event's dressing room and other necessities that makes the venue run. The building's superstructure is made of 4 concrete cores, tied together over 9,500 tons of steel to create a series of tension ring beams that holds the weight of the 11,000-ton roof. For this and other work to be completed, given that there is a huge distance, the team had to import the 4th largest quarter crane over from Belgium to position some of the largest and heavier components. Standing at a staggering 10 meters higher than the close-by high roller observation wheel at its peak, the crane was assembled on site in 18 days, as this project was on its own. To construct the roof, an 86-meter temporary shoring tower was first erected in the middle of the arena. Then a 154-ton compression ring was placed on the top, that the 32 steel trusses will be connected into. Because of their immense size and weight, the compression ring and trusses were each assembled on the ground over several weeks, before being craned into place. The temporary shoring was later removed, and the equal forces of the roof structure began to counter each other, creating a column-free, uninterrupted space within the sphere. In February 2020, Madison Square Garden said that the cost of the project had been increased to $1.66 billion as a result of design changes consisting of guests' enhancements. That month, the world's 4th largest crane was set up on the site's northwest side for the purpose of lifting heavy construction materials. In a disassembled state, the crane was transported across the Atlantic Ocean from Zeebrugge, Belgium to Port Hueneme, California. The crane now needed 120 tractor-trailers to transport it to Las Vegas. In March 2020, construction reached the widest point of the sphere, the 516-foot equator, located at the 6th level and 108 feet above the ground. MSG Sphere is expected to create 4,400 jobs upon opening. The project had been scheduled to open in 2021. On March 31, 2030, Madison Square Garden announced that the construction work would be suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The project experienced a disruption in its supply chain as a result of the pandemic, and this hindered construction progress. All construction work on the project was expected to come to a stop the next 2 weeks following the announcement. In August of 2020, MSG Entertainment announced that the construction had resumed on the project, with the opening rescheduled for 2023. Over the subsequent 15 months, construction would be focused on concrete, followed by steel erection, and then the 13,000-ton steel domed roof, the most complex part of the project. In October 2020, crews completed the heaviest lift up to that point, with the installation of two 240-ton steel girders. Topping out the steel framework, which is a 170-ton steel compressing ring, was added in February 2021, which made it the heaviest lift of the entire project. Due to its size, the ring had to be assembled at the construction site. Work crews spent 3 weeks bolting down the prefabricated steel pieces together, and the crane was used to lift the ring into place. Having been completed, work is now fully underway on the sphere's geodesic exoskeleton, which will add 24 meters to its overall height and provide the surface for the exterior LED displays. Once the sphere is fully enclosed, work on the state-of-the-art fit-out will begin. Madison Square Garden took over as a general contractor in December 2020, although AECOM continued to provide support. Even though a lot of folks thought the MSG Sphere is and would be just a regular arena, the completion will be an immeasurable addition to the city's skyline. Nonetheless, with the Venetian and Palazzo set to be connected through the Sands Expo and Convention Center, and with addition to the Las Vegas monorail planned, the MSG Sphere is currently accessible via RTC Transit and the Deuce. The MSG Sphere looks set to become the latest sight to be seen. We'd like to hear your views in the comment section. Please share and comment on our amazing videos. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to get notified when a new video like this goes out immediately. Have a great day, guys, and see you next time.
Alright, guys. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And on today's stream, we're going to talk about China's influence on railway infrastructure development in Africa and Southeast China. Before we proceed, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to get the latest videos as they drop. Having done that, let us dive into what we have for today. Africa, a continent with an entire land area of 30.37 million square kilometers, or 11.7 million square miles, enough to fit in the US, China, India, Japan, Mexico, and many European nations combined. Also is home to 54 countries and about 1.2 billion souls. There's this general misconception about the true dimensions of Africa, especially amongst those living in Europe and the Americas. The problem with maps is not that Africa is wrongly sized, far from it, but the Mercator projection attempts to place the spherical shape of the world onto a cylinder, causing areas closest to the poles to be stretched. Africa, that is sitting on the equator, barely changes in size. Meanwhile, the countries furthest from the equator become inflated from their true sizes on this type of map. This has helped undermine the challenges in connectivity and transportation infrastructure currently faced by countries residing in Africa, as it is the fastest growing urbanizing area on the planet. Africa does not have a large-scale railway infrastructure, and to bridge this infrastructural gap, billions have been invested, with the majority of the funding coming from China. This is more than just impressive feats of engineering passing through the rainforest, jungles, safari camps, and deserts. They are symbols of better connected societies, economic opportunities, international alliances, and a shifting balance in the world of construction. To get to grasp why China is so heavily involved in Africa's railway infrastructural growth, you have to time jump to 1955, where the first large-scale Afro-Asian conference, known as the Bandung Conference, was held. The purpose of this meeting was to discuss world peace and to work together in the light of Western colonialism. From that meeting, the Tazara Railway was born in 1975, which was a 1,860-kilometer link between Zambia and Tanzania, with the hopes of exporting its copper without having to have altercations with the white minority landowners. The Tazara Railway, also called the Tanzam Railway, is a railway in East Africa linking the port of Dar es Salaam in East Tanzania with the town of Kapir Mposhi in Zambia's Central Province, which is a single-track railway operated by the Tanzania-Zambia Railway Authority, which was funded in no little part by China. And going beyond the Bandung Conference, China has been busy in Nigeria, constructing the landmark modern double-track rail lines in the country, which connects Lagos, Africa's largest city, to the country's industrial base, Ibadan. This has been officially put into service, making it the first modern double-track standard railway in the West Africa region. The railway, which stretches about 157 kilometers with a speed of 150 kilometers per hour, marks a landmark cooperation project between China and Africa under the Belt and Road Initiative, which has the potential to significantly improve Nigeria's infrastructure and boost its economic development. The project is designed, built, and undertaken by the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation. The Export-Import Bank of China provided the funds. The Belt and Road Initiative, or BNR, known in Chinese and formerly in English as One Belt, One Road, or OBOR for short, is a global infrastructure development strategy adopted by the Chinese government in 2013 to invest in nearly 70 countries and international organizations. Even though China stands on the premise that its involvement in railroad infrastructure, construction, and upgrade in Africa is an exercise in altruism, yet investing in Ethiopia, one of the world's poorest countries, is more strategic and less philanthropic. The United States has scaled down its engagement on the continent. This is an opportunity that is being fully grabbed by the Chinese government. With the construction of various factories, supply of basic farming implements, and more complicated machinery easy to purchase because the Chinese refuse to use expensive machinery in its manufacture, and construction of Ethiopia-Djibouti rail line. This is a new standard gauge international railway that serves as the backbone of the new Ethiopian railway network. The rail network measures 756 kilometers connecting the landlocked city of Addis Ababa to the ports of Djibouti, which costs a staggering $7 billion, which was funded by the Chinese government and began operations in 2018. Nonetheless, there have been complaints, especially from the Western media, that the Chinese firms handling the construction have refused to employ the locals and in return have not helped in unemployment and poverty reduction. This is further from the truth. In Nigeria, the construction of the double-track line hired more than 10,000 locals at its peak and directly created more than 4,000 jobs for the locals in order to transfer the operation to them in the future, while the Ethiopia-Djibouti Railway provided an estimated 8,000 jobs for both countries, although it can be said that those jobs do not involve senior management positions. And then, there are returns of investments expected from the operational projects. Well, some have not been bringing the planned revenue, and some countries are having difficulties in paying the loans promptly, single track. And this is where China's policy of friendship making comes to play, as the country has waived most debts African nations owed to her while increasing the grace periods of others. Also, by developing factories and improving economies and the income levels of the locals, the populace has improved spending power. In turn, improves revenue generation for the railway projects. Southeast Asia, which comprises countries that include Brunei, Burma, Cambodia, Timor-Leste, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam, which are known as the Indo-Chinese Peninsula and historically as Indochina. They sit on a landmass of 4.5 square kilometers and have a population of 655 million souls, which is about 8.5% of the world's population. It is the third most populous geographical region in Asia. Train travel between is becoming very feasible, as one can travel from Vientiane to Phnom Penh via Bangkok, Ho Chi Minh City to Luang Prabang by way of Hanoi and Kunming, Hong Kong to Singapore via half of those stations plus Kuala Lumpur. This is linking and reducing travel time between some of Southeast Asia's biggest cities. When the Japanese trading house Itochu and train makers Hitachi withdrew from the soon-to-be-decided 7 billion tenders for a high-speed rail project near Bangkok, it became another victory for China in its grand plans to connect Southeast Asia with the railways. Thailand has for decades been the centerpiece of Tokyo's strategy for Southeast Asia, and long discussed plans to build expensive Shinkansen-style rail lines in the country's east and north were meant to cement the relationship between the two nations. But Japan's goals have been stalled by disagreements about financing and other details. Beijing, on the other hand, has managed to forge ahead with the construction of a separate high-speed rail line in northern Thailand. China's high-speed rail ambitions in the Southeast Asia are not limited to Bangkok, as part of China's 12th five-year plan is to build a high-speed rail connecting the countries involved in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. The goal of building the rail line is to improve transportation, collaboration, and trade in the China ASEAN Free Trade Area. This construction is to help smaller member nations in various ways. Most importantly, employment rates and the economic status of the smaller member nations will most likely grow due to the introduction of rail. To this end, Chinese rail lines will extend even further south, stretching through Malaysia and feeding into Singapore. Singapore is the most developed member of the association, which is located at the tip of the Malay Peninsula. It has one of the strongest relationships with Washington, though, giving the project added significance for China. If Beijing can woo Singapore successfully and bring them into an understanding, that will most likely mean that the devotion of Singapore to Washington will decrease. This, in turn, will give China more freedom to operate in Southeast Asia, as reasoned by Stephen Nagy, Senior Associate Professor at International Christian University in Tokyo. He also added that it could mean that ASEAN would become more amenable to Chinese demands. such as its push for the control of the South China Sea. The recent shift in Malaysian politics has put China's plans for Singapore on hold. However, after his election in May, Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad decided to hold up until further notice the plans of a 20 billion 688 kilometer East Coast rail line connecting southern Thailand to Kuala Lumpur, and postponed for 2 years a 350 kilometer high-speed rail link between the Malaysian capital and Singapore. China has been very keen to develop its inland and has heavily pushed for its westward push towards the Central and Southeast Asia. The country's $1 trillion Belt and Road Initiative is designed to create transport infrastructure for China to import energy and other vital resources from and export goods to other parts of the Eurasian continent without relying on its coastal area that is vulnerable to potential Western sanctions or naval blockages. ICU's Nagy pointed out, China, which just recently started installing, operating, and using high-speed rails, has already caught up with Japan's Shinkansen in the last decade or so. The dream of a trans-Asian railway dates as far back as the colonial days when the British and the French tried to develop a rail network connecting their colonies in Indochina. In 1995, ASEAN members embraced a similar idea, reflecting an inspiration to unify all Southeast Asia under its initiative, said Seiya Sukegawa, a former Japanese trade official and associate professor at Kokushikan University of Tokyo. This brings us to the question of what is the BRI as regards its relation in Asia. The BRI is viewed by Beijing as vital in securing its boundaries on the Asian mainland, as it is bordered by 15 nations, including unstable states such as Afghanistan and nations seeking new partnerships in opposition to the U.S., such as Russia. BRI investments are viewed as a way to facilitate China's periphery diplomacy, trade and infrastructure partnerships with the countries along this enormous land border. In summary, China is giving Africans a decision to make between themselves and the Western colonials and taskmasters who do not care about the well-being of their citizenry. While China's interest in linking Southeast Asia is for the development of the region and its populace, and also to secure the sovereign borders of China. Let us know the next video you want us to make, or your experience down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the subscribe button. I hope you'll have a great day, everybody, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.